Meghan Markle, otherwise known as the Duchess of Sussex, has given another interview, a bombshell interview, to a magazine called The Cut.
Yes, she has indeed. Are you ready for some truth bombs? In the interview, she said her very presence in the UK upset the hierarchy of the royal family.
Upsets more than the hierarchy of the royal family, I would say. But anyway, just...
and also claimed that unspecified members of the British media had used the N-word to refer to her children. A new N-word allegation from her.
From members of the British media?
Yes, unsubstantiated allegations, I might add.
OK, let's go to our showbiz reporter in LA, Kinsey Schofield, for her thoughts on this. What's that on your head?
Well, first of all, I have to say, Miss Isabel, I missed you. And we need to redefine truth bombs if we're going to say Meghan dropped truth bombs.
OK,
because
she's speaking her own truth bombs, to quote her in many different forms.
And Eamon, I'll return your hat after the show.
Okay, fair enough.
But yeah, so it's called The Cut. This is a really edgy magazine here in the States. Not only is this an edgy magazine in the States, but this is a magazine that clearly has no respect for the British royal family, because if you look at their social media and you look at some of their past stories, they have spoken about, completely non-true rumors about the Cambridge family and affairs that could have possibly gone on. This is a gossipy magazine that is not pro-royal family, so I think it's very interesting that Meghan chose this outlet of all outlets to go to when she could have had Vanity Fair, she could have had Vogue, she could have had any of those bigger media partnerships, and she chose The Cut. I think that's really interesting. But yeah, some of the things that she said that somebody in the royal rota, who we know, the people that follow the royal family, they're typically very good humans, kind human beings. I've never heard them say anything aggressive or hateful about Harry or Meghan's children, let alone something racist about Harry or Meghan's children. She says that Prince Harry no longer has a relationship with his father, which Prince Charles sources are saying is not exactly true, and that hurts Prince Charles to hear that. And yeah, I don't think that this is the last we're going to hear from Meghan Markle. Her podcast with Mariah Carey drops later today. So we have a lot more coming from Meghan. Brace yourselves.
Difficult, isn't it? Because she's obviously appealing to an audience that perhaps stateside is lapping all of this up. But meanwhile, you only have to go onto some of the comment sections of the online reporting here in the UK to see this isn't the British media who are disgusted with what she's saying. It's the British public. I mean, they really hate the comments that she's making about the royal family. This suggestion on the 25th anniversary of Princess Diana's death that Harry has lost his father. I mean, can we just take a moment to point that out? It's just shocking.
Or the fact that she's going to drop her podcast episode on Divas with Mariah Carey on the eve of Princess Diana's death. I think that's who are these PR people that she's working with? I do wonder if there's a strategy behind it where it's the 25th anniversary of Princess Diana's death. She's going to be on magazine covers, so let's get Meghan on magazine covers too, so that people compare the two. Also, I don't know if you saw the picture, Isabel, but the picture on the cover of The Cut, it looks exactly like a picture that Princess Diana took in a black turtleneck. It is bizarre. And we've seen her on multiple occasions try to dress like Princess Diana. It is bizarre. Does Prince Harry not look at her and say, that looks an awful lot like something my mother would wear?
Maybe he likes that. Who knows? And you can't fault her. I honestly think she's a very, very beautiful woman, and that's how she has mesmerised Harry. But it is so sad. When we were saying, weren't we, Eamon, earlier, just when we were talking about this, he has physically lost his mother. She has died. But through this whole process, as Meghan calls it, he's lost his father, this relationship with his father. She, as we know, is estranged from her father as well. And that's through choice. It's not through death.
And when she was asked about that specifically in this interview, she diverts attention away from it and goes into Prince Harry losing his father. Whenever she's asked about something that kind of forces her to be held accountable, she talks about something else. She brings up something else, and it typically throws a lot of weight onto Prince Harry, which is pretty unfair. So yeah, it's devastating. And Prince Harry should be remembering his mother, should be connecting with his brother in the next few hours. And unfortunately, because of this bombshell interview and because of an upcoming podcast and 12 weeks of podcasts, that's not very likely.
Do you know, Kinsey, maybe the problem is that so many people, when they sit down to interview this actress, is that they take her seriously and they give her respect that perhaps she doesn't deserve. I'm just going to read you an extract from the interview where she said she told the magazine that they were living in while they were living in Britain, she and Harry felt they were being criticised for their taxpayer-funded lifestyle. She said she suggested to the firm, the royal family, that Meghan and Harry should carry on as working royals in a Commonwealth country, maybe New Zealand or Canada. So basically, her delusion is that she's saying, Harry and I can become king and queen of Canada or New Zealand, and we'll set up our own fiefdom there. Why doesn't someone actually interview her and laugh in her face?
I'll tell you that. Yeah, well, I bet she's scared of you. I think that in the States, there is something so romantic about a prince and a princess. I think that we are still so lost in this storyline, which actually, if she were upfront and honest, a Hallmark actress getting to marry the most famous prince in the world, that's an incredible and compelling story. Just go with the story that's true. You don't have to create all these false stories and accuse everybody of racism to have people enchanted by your life story. But she is just wrapped up in this victimhood. And at some point, people are going to get tired of hearing about a woman complaining from her mansion, from her $1 million mansion.
What would you do, Eamon, if you were interviewing Meghan Markle, as you've offered to do? And wait, she asked you to transcribe her guttural sounds that she made during the sit-down interview.
Wait, hold on, wait.
She specifically said, she said, don't write down... When I ask you a question and I don't give words, please transcribe what the sounds were. Here we go. Here she is.
Oh.
Here's Meghan. Go for it. Ask a question.
Well, you'd be saying, are you serious? Are you seriously, are you... I mean, deluded. I mean, unbelievable. I mean, I'm just saying this. I mean, if this was a showbiz star, they would just be laughed out of the room on this. Folks, get in touch. Join the conversation on Meghan speaking out again. GBViews at gbnews.uk or tweet at GBNews. I mean, Kinsey, is it fair to say that her life is miserable? Because it seems to be miserable. She's miserable at being a woman. She's miserable at being a royal.
Millionaire.
She's miserable at being a millionaire. She's miserable with her own family. She's completely... I mean, who would want to be her? Who would want to be this princess who doesn't see herself as a princess? She sees herself as a queen, really.
Well, that's true. But don't forget, she told the reporter that people still see her as a princess in that article, that little girls see her as a princess. So she still is under the delusion that she is this, Cinderella story. But I would advise her to look forward. Be positive. What's to come? What can you look forward to? You are so blessed. Say you're blessed. Talk about how in love you are with your husband. Talk about how smart and beautiful your children are. Those, again, like this, that's a great story. And say you're living the American dream. You're so excited to be here in America. Why do you have to continue to tear down your in-laws that completely helped you build your brand? It's unnecessary.
It is.
Kinsey, well summed up. Thank you very much indeed. Really appreciating that. That's
Meghan
Markle.
Thanks, Meghan. I've got one of those of your face, Eamon. Did you know that?
Well, what you do with that is up to you.
I've got about 15 of them. Anyway, that's another story.